As an MMA channel, a lot of the time I'm gonna shit on my own sport. I'm gonna be shitting on MMA. I shit on the UFC. You know, there's a lot of negativity being an MMA YouTube channel. I'm not gonna lie. I'm always shitting on some of the stupid stuff the UFC does, some of the stupid stuff Dana White does, some of the stupid stuff just in mixed martial arts in general. But when there's something good in MMA, I will, obviously I am going to talk about it. And I thought, since my channel does seem to be quite negative, a lot of the time it's very negative, I thought I'd make a somewhat positive video, at least for the sport of MMA. So I was just going to talk about things that MMA does a lot better than the sport of boxing. And one thing, I'm just going to go straight into it. I watched the Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou card. I know people say, oh, it's not real boxing or whatever. Like, it was Tyson Fury in an actual boxing match, and Francis Ngannou almost beat him. But that's not what I'm going to get into right now. What I'm going to get into is the pacing. MMA pacing is so much better. The UFC pacing in general, like the PFL's got pretty bad pacing, but in comparison to fucking boxing, it's like a high speed chase. Like, it's just like whoop, zoom. Like, boxing man is so fucking bad. I said boxing man like a fucking superhero just then, but like boxing, they'll put on a fucking concert. Nobody gives a fuck. They'll put on some stupid fucking concert with some cunts nobody even knows. Like, I don't want to. I'm not here to watch some fucking itsy bitsy concert play. I just want to get to the fucking fights. We're sitting there, we're watching the Baby. I think the Baby was there, and then I don't even know who any of the other artists are. Maybe I'm just getting old or something. I didn't know who any of the fucking people they had playing at the Fury Ngannou fight. Like, nobody gives a shit. Like, I don't know, most cards don't have concerts, but, if it's not concerts, it's the analysts talking for like 40 minutes after the last fight. Like, it was literally an hour and a half from the co-main event to the main event. Like, what the fuck? Like, generally, what the fuck? Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing in boxing? How are boxing fans, like, not freaking out over that? I would lose my shit having to watch every boxing card. Like, you're taking an hour and a half out of my life that I will never get back to do that shit, just to talk like some fucking random guys talking, or just a random concert, or just static. It's just the fucking, we get to see everybody in the crowd. Like, nobody gives a shit that Kanye West is at the Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou fight. Nobody cares. I guarantee you, nobody's like, oh my god, Kanye West is there? Oh, I gotta buy this pay-per-view now. It's like, why does it matter going over and over again that Kanye West is in attendance? Oh my god, Eminem is there? Like, nobody cares that there are celebrities there. Wow, cool. The Saudi Arabian government spent millions of dollars to bring fucking every A-list to Z-list fucking celebrity. Like, cool. Oh my god, David Beckham's babysitter from when he was 12 is there? Oh, fuck. Like, nobody cares that there are celebrities there. Don't keep going in the crowd and showing us people there. We're here to watch people fight. We don't want to wait another half an hour to an hour just because you got to show off all the fucking celebrities that the Saudi Arabian government has just fucking flew in to appeal mainstream. Like, fuck off. Nobody cares. Second, another point I want to get onto that's also related to the pacing. We wait all that time. We wait fucking hour and a half watching fucking stupid concerts. These analysts talk over the same shit over and over again. Then we get the promo. Then, oh my god, we have the walkouts. No, nah, not enough, not good enough. Nah, sorry, not good enough. Then we have the fucking host nation national anthem. Like, cool, okay, the Saudi Arabian national anthem. Then we gotta hear the fucking British national anthem. And then the Cameroonian fucking national anthem. I'm surprised they didn't say, oh yeah, let's add the French and American national anthems while we're at it. It's like, why the fuck do they play the national anthems? I'm as patriotic as the next guy, but if I want to hear the national anthem, do it at a fucking military service or some shit, or a fucking when you inaugurate the fucking prime minister or the president or whatever country you're from and whatever style of government you have, nobody wants to hear the national anthem before a fucking fight. Just fuck off with that shit, man. Like, we're here to watch fucking people savagely beat the shit out of each other. I don't think it needs a national anthem to play before, you know? Like, we waited all that time. We don't want to wait another fucking 10 minutes to listen to some random slag sing the national anthem. In my opinion, this is just all my personal opinion. I don't give a shit about the national anthem when I'm watching fights. I am waiting for bloodlust, you know, personally. But maybe I'm just built a little differently, you know. But I don't know. That part really annoys me. The whole national anthem thing, like. But fucking hell, just absolutely fucking annoys me, man. It does. It frustrates me like a fucking motherfucker. Now, moving on to my other points. The cards. I swear boxing cards are only like 4 fights on the card. Like, let me go look at Tyson Fury versus. I know I'm using Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, which is like not the best example to use for all of boxing, but let me just look at the fight, the undercard. The whole fight card was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There was 7 fights on the whole card that nobody gave a shit about. Nobody cared that Joseph Parker was on the card. Nobody cared about Fabio Wardley versus David Adelaide. They only care that David Adelaide fucking shoved a referee. Like, they don't put any good fights on these undercards. They put fights that nobody cares about. Their undercards are so shit. Their prelims are so shit. You know, with a UFC card, max you get 15 fights. 15 fights where you'll care about 12 of them, and then, you know, the other 3 will be like decent fights, but you don't really care about them too much. Unless you're me, where you care about all of them except for the women fights. But, like, seriously, like, why? Their cards are literally main event or bust. You're literally paying $80 just to watch one fucking fight. Like, where the fuck is the sense in that? You know, with MMA, with the UFC, main cards are pay-per-views. They will be pretty good. Sometimes you'll have 2 title fights, real fucking good title fights. You'll normally have a banger feature fight, and then the opener will be good as well, and then there'll maybe be a filler fight after that, but it'll still be a good fight. You know, it'll be a fight you care about, but I don't know, maybe the whole perspective is different for boxing fans. Maybe they're all like, oh, what a banger fight this one is. But I don't think so. I never hear people getting excited for undercard boxing fights. Maybe I'm not looking in the right place. Maybe this is just my mindset and my experiences that maybe I'm a bit biased towards this department, but I generally feel like nobody gives a shit about any of these undercard boxing matches. Like, I shit you not, I care more about Misfits cards at this point. They put on better boxing cards. You know, they follow like an MMA type format for their cards. You know, they'll put on quite a lot of fights. They'll put on good prelims. Like, their fights are fucking. I get more excited for fucking Misfits undercards at this point than I do professional, like, traditional boxing undercards. It's fucking insane. Like, it is crazy. I can't believe I'm literally saying this out loud, but I do. I generally care more about the fucking Misfits prime card prelims or the fucking Misfits 10 fucking prelims over this shit. Like, it's insane. Like, they gotta really focus on putting on some better fights than just the main event. You know, there's never been a stacked boxing card, I swear. You know, the Saudis were gonna put on a stacked card. It was gonna be Tyson Fury versus Usyk, Anthony Joshua versus Wilder, and I think Francis Ngannou versus Derek Chisora. That would have been crazy. That would have been a really good card. That would have been the best boxing card in history, probably. But no, it doesn't go ahead. Like, unfortunately not. Generally, it's just, I don't know, it's just a pain in the ass, man. Just, I don't know, it's fucking shit. Now, another thing that MMA does a lot better than boxing is the fights. We actually get the fights we want when we want them. You know, you can say a lot of things about Dana White. Is he maybe a bit of a scumbag? I guess it depends on your perspective. Is he a good businessman? Most definitely is. People say he's not because they hate him, but you can't deny the man's very business savvy. He is a very smart man. He wouldn't have got where he was without having a business mindset. But he gives the fans the fights we want. You know, maybe not, sometimes his judgment will be a bit bad and he'll give us a fight we don't want, but eventually we get the fights we want, you know? Like when people fight, you know, like when there's a number one contender fight or something like that, people won't sit out for years avoiding that fight. It'll always happen. We'll always get the fights that need to happen. You know, they will instantly book the fights we want. Even if they don't end up coming to fruition, maybe someone pulls out or something, we still get the fights booked, sealed, and, you know, ready to happen. Then you got Crawford versus Spence that literally took years and years to book. You have Pacquiao versus Mayweather, which took years and years. They waited till fucking Pacquiao and Mayweather are a bit past their prime before we got it. You know, there's plenty of other examples. Like look at fucking Beta Biv versus Bivol. That's still not happened. Beta Biv's like fucking in his 40s now. He's getting so much older, but he hasn't had any of these major fights yet. But he's like a killing machine. Like, how shit is that? We just have to watch Bitterbiv, just beat the shit out of all these, like, you know, some have names, but not like the elite of the elite. By the time he gets to fight like the Canelos and the Bivals, he's going to be way past his prime. That we're never going to know what he would have looked like against these prime opponents. And it's just so shit. Like, look, everyone wanted Yuri Prohaska versus Alex Pereira. We've got it. Everybody wanted, like Volk versus Islam. We got that fight straight away after Islam won his belt. We got that fight. People wanted Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira. Boom, we got it. Like, we always get the fights we want. Like, it's just fucking we're spoiled. Like the MMA / UFC fan base, we are spoiled. We always get what we want pretty much with these fights. But the boxing fans, they have to wait years and years, or they just never get it. AJ vs Fury was meant to happen so many times, never got booked, never got agreed. There is so much politics in boxing that none of these fights happen. They would rather them just crush cans so they don't lose a big star. But in MMA, you lose, you're still a big star. You know, maybe it speaks to the maturity of MMA fans. I'm not saying MMA fans in general are mature. You know, we're definitely an immature fan base. So is boxing, most definitely. I'd say boxing is a more divided fan base, if you know what I mean. I'm sure you do. Let's just say there's probably certain rallies where boxing fans have clashed on more than just their favorite fighters, maybe on a different level of ideology. But regardless, another thing that I did briefly just mention is the politics. You know, MMA, of course, there is some corruption in MMA. Some of these judges don't know what they're doing. But Chris Lee and Saudi Amato are fucking elite level judges compared to some of the boxing judges we get. Because we have had some fucking sus-ass robberies over the years. We've had some horrible, horrible decisions. Like fights that don't make any logical sense going to the absolute wrong guy. Like somebody you can't even argue winning a fight. Like it's a joke when it comes to the box. Like I can't watch boxing, not because of the fights itself. I like boxing. I like I like the fucking fist fights. I like the fighting itself. But I can't get invested in something where if someone morally, properly wins, I don't know why I said morally there, but if someone goes in there, gets the victory, like they actually go in there, put on a crazy performance. They're a massive underdog. It's like a Rocky performance. They're beating the shit out of the big favorite. Like towards the end, they've clinched enough rounds. Like they should get the rightful victory, and then boom, the judges score it to the other guy with him winning 5 extra rounds that he shouldn't have got. It's just bullshit. it ruins the sport, man. It ruins it so much. How can I get invested in something where the winner doesn't even get his hand raised half the time in boxing? It's all about who's a star, who is a big name. It's all about what promotion you're fighting under. It's just so much corruption in boxing. I know MMA isn't squeaky clean either. We get a lot of weird robberies in MMA as well, don't get me wrong. But the MMA robberies in comparison to boxing robberies are like solid decisions. Like we get some fucking total corruption in boxing that it drives me so mad. Like I've watched a lot of the recent boxing fights I've watched. It's always a horrible robbery where I just want to fucking punch a hole in my wall. It's not like I bet or anything either. If I bet, oh my god, I'd go insane betting on boxing. But it's just, you watch it, you're like, shit, man, that's like really good performance from that guy. Like this guy could be the future. Oh no, they robbed him. Now he's got a fucking 1 or 2 on his record now. Yep, he's never going to be anything now. Yep, they're not going to promote him. All right, he's going to have to go and beat another 30 fucking cans now if he wants to be taken seriously. Like just the madness that fucking boxing politics is. Another thing I do have to bring up is the whole record debacle. Losing in boxing is so AIDS that you lose once, your fucking career is like on fucking your deathbed already. And obviously there's exceptions to the rules. There's some guys who maybe lose early in their career and they bounce back and they actually go on to do something with their career. But most times out of 10, you lose early in your career, you're fucked. You have to go from square one. You have to do everything over and over again. You have to go and beat another 30 cans, another 30 guys. Then you're gonna be used as the can. You're gonna have to fight the tough fights. Like, if you lose, you're fucked. You're fucked. That's pretty much how I can word it. You are absolutely fucked. It's such a shit mindset that they have going on. Like it generally does. It actually annoys me so much. Like the fact that in MMA you can lose. Like look at Jack Della Maddalena. I know I'll always use him as an example. One of my favorite fighters. He was 0-2 in his MMA career as a pro. He started 0-2. He's on a 16-fight winning streak now, in the top 10 of the welterweight division. If that was boxing, it would have been, nah, you're not cut out for this business, kid. You're a journeyman now for life. Like. You would be demeaned, you'd be made fun of, but in MMA, 0-2 is only 0-2 until your third fight, your fourth fight, your fifth fight. You become 1-2, then you're 2-2, then you're 3-2. Like them types of stories happen in MMA where people can lose their first fight, lose their second fight, and they're not completely done as a prospect. Some people, Chad Ankenherger, I think his name was, he was 2-5 at one point. Now he's in the UFC. Like you can actually have a career even after losing. Like losing's obviously not great in MMA. It doesn't reward you for losing, but your career isn't completely over. You can still fight. You can still actually go on to be something with a loss. Boxing, you're just completely fucking blacklisted from being a prospect. Nobody will give you any hype if you have a loss. It's like, oh, he lost, what a fucking loser. Like people will shit on you. The boxing fan base would practically fucking spits on you like you're a fucking dirtbag. Kids would throw fucking tomatoes at you and, put you in one of those old medieval things where they all, I forgot what it's called, like a guillotine type thing, but, so they're not chopping your head off. And they just throw fucking tomatoes at you. I know it sounds like I'm ranting like a senile old man right now, but if you get what I mean, they just treat you like dirt. You don't matter if you get a loss in boxing. MMA, though, mixed martial arts, you'll actually get treated like a human being. You lose, it's like, yeah, losses happen in this sport. It's a fucking fight. Anything can happen in a fight. You can slip and fucking knock yourself out. You can slam someone, knock yourself out. But you can always come back. Like rematches in MMA are actually competitive. Rematches in boxing, most of the time, the same guy will win. That's another thing I got to remind myself to get into. MMA is starting to lean towards this, which does really piss me off. But the rematch clauses, the boxing rematch clauses, like, oh my god, we finally got this fight that we've wanted for so long. Oh, rematch clause. Yep, you can go. You wanted this fight so badly. Here you go. You can have it fucking 3 times now. It's like, fuck. Alright, you've just completely killed the fight. I don't want to see rematch after rematch. I'd rather see one and done. We find out who the better man is. If you do it fucking rematch after rematch and it's 1-1, then you got to do a trilogy. It's like, at this point, who fucking cares about that fight? In MMA, normally it's the better man wins, and then, maybe you work your way to a rematch. Nowadays, it is just turning into rematch central, which I fucking hate. It's one of the worst things about the UFC at the moment. Like, look at Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. Yeah, we waited so long for that fight. We really wanted that fight. Terence Crawford went in there, beat the shit out of him, dominated him. Oh, yeah, we're doing a rematch now. It's like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? Nobody cares. The fight wasn't competitive. Like, it's just so shit. Like, I'm just sick of rematches in all sports. Like, I feel like people don't have long to fight. Don't be matching them up against the same person over and over again. Get some fucking fresh matchups in there, in my opinion. Boxing is like recycled fight after recycled fight. Did we really, like, don't get me wrong, the third Fury Wilder fight was a good fight, but we didn't need to see Fury Wilder fucking 3 times, in my opinion. I would have gladly took Fury vs Joshua and Fury vs Usyk over having him fight Wilder 3 fucking times. Like, that third fight was so unnecessary, but especially because Fury's talking about fighting him a 4th time. It's like, do we really need to see that again, man? But still, I don't know. What else is there to talk about? I've talked about the corruption, the pacing, the promoters. The promoters are worse. Fuck you, Bob Arum. Just to add, I always gonna slander Bob Arum, that fucking slimy little bastard. He is one of the worst things about boxing. He's just a fucking scumbag. Dana White, like I say, you can argue Dana White's a scumbag, but I don't know. I don't know. I have a little soft spot for Dana. Maybe it makes me a bit biased, but Dana is actually a personality. He has a personality. Bob Arum's just an evil fucking little penguin-looking man. Like, he looks like a fucking Batman villain that would be like running a fucking gang, like a crime syndicate or something. Like, I remember he talked to that reporter who like called him out for like doing not paying his fighters properly, and he said, "Shut up, you little prick," and then he kicked the guy out. Like, come on, at least Dana White will answer the tough questions. I know maybe he'll take some fighters' credentials, some media members' credentials, but it rarely happens. Outside of Ariel Helwani, who it wasn't because he questioned Dana White, it's because he announced a fight that they were planning on doing a big announcement for. I can understand why he's pissed off, but also at the same time, that is Ariel Helwani's job to announce fights. So I'm not agreeing with that, even knowing I'm not the biggest Ariel Helwani fan. I don't agree with him taking his credentials for that, but still. It's just the promoters, the promotions in boxing. It's like, it's so AIDS to keep up with. All the belts as well. That's another thing. The belts. Who's the best fighter in the world at that weight class? Oh, I don't know, because there's literally fucking 25 different belts in every weight class. There's like 25 heavyweight champions. There's also like 25 different weight classes as well. Like, every 3 pounds there's a new weight class. It's like, it just becomes a joke. I like the UFC, how they do theirs. I feel like it's a fair system. How many weight classes they have. It's not a crazy amount. I think, honestly, I wouldn't mind in the future seeing a male strawweight division, just because I feel like there is actually some pretty good male strawweights out there. But outside of that, their divisions are perfect. Like, they have good. They just have good weight classes, the right amount of titles. Like, most people don't consider all them other championships and other major organizations the rightful like world championship. It's the consensus is that the UFC titles are the main titles. If you win the UFC title, you're the best in the world. That's just how it is. That's just how people look at it. And I do agree with that. But in boxing, there's like fucking WBA, WBC, WBA, WBBA, like fucking WWBBBA, like the BBWWA. Like, it's just so many fucking different organizations. It's like, I can't keep up with this shit. Then they have like the unlimited super edition, limited edition belt, the fucking money belt. Like, it's like, oh my god, how do you keep up with this shit? Like, it's just an unbearable amount of shit to deal with, man. Like, how, I don't know. I can keep up with all the crazy wild shit going on in the martial arts world, but I can't keep up with the wild shit in boxing sometimes. It's just like, there's literally just so many different championships. I just can't keep up at this point. It's so unbearable. But I've talked about the belts. I've talked about the wait times, the corruption. Oh, another thing, the overall fight. I know this is just down to personal preference. This is my personal preference. So this one you can disagree with this. I don't mind. It's my personal preference. A lot of like these high level. I see people say like high level boxing is way better than high level MMA, but I honestly I disagree. A lot of high level boxing is like 4 rounds of nothing. First 4 rounds of nothing, and then they get their timing together. They save their energy so they don't gas out. So it's like the first 4 rounds we get jab, clinch, jab, clinch, clinch, punch, punch, clinch, punch, punch. It's like, that's not really entertaining in my opinion. Like the first few rounds, no strikes will be thrown. It's like, where is the entertainment factor in this? How are people finding this entertaining? Like personally, that's just not my cup of tea. I do like, obviously I'm not saying every boxing fight's boring. There is some really good boxing fights, obviously. I am a fan of boxing. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I generally am. I do like boxing, but I just think their fights are less entertaining. I know, obviously, there is a few boring mixed martial arts fights here and there, but I would say that there's more boring boxing fights in boxing, especially main events. Like, a lot of their championship fights will turn out to be bore fest, especially early. The later rounds, yeah, they'll maybe exchange a little bit, but it's just like a pitter-patter contest sometimes. Like, don't get me wrong, there is some good boxing fights. I've watched some real good boxing fights, but it just seems on general they have some really boring fights. Like, I like chess match here and there, but there's having a chess match, and then there's having a fucking staring contest. But I guess that this is down to personal preference. Obviously I am an MMA guy, so I am gonna like MMA a bit more, but yeah. So corrupt promoters, too many belts, too many weight classes. What else does MMA do better that I can think of right now? Uh, I don't write any of this stuff down. This actually all comes right out of my head. I should probably start writing stuff down, but not yet. I think that might be it. I will say one thing that boxing does do better is the entrances. The entrances are way better. I wish that MMA and UFC especially, because you will see it in Ryzen, but I wish like mainstream Northern American promotion, UFC, the worldwide mainstream promotion, I wish they would let people do cool entrances like Tyson Fury coming out on a throne, but unfortunately we don't see that. But yeah, that's something boxing does do better, to give boxing their due. Their entrances are pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's all there is to talk about in this video. I just had to get this off my chest, man. I just couldn't not talk about this. You can say I'm biased. I do understand. I am an MMA guy at the end of the day. I am going to see the more positives out of MMA, than I will out of boxing. I still do like boxing. I am a casual boxer and enjoyer. I try to watch boxing when I can. But, I can't, I watched a fucking Devin Haney fight, and, that's one thing. Devin Haney's a very good boxer, but fuck me, he's so boring. That's actually another point I need to add. The clinching is so fucking cancerous in boxing. I contract AIDS watching the fucking clinching in there. Every fight would just be a fucking hug fest. At least in MMA, you can work with the clinch, you can knee, you can elbow, you can go for a takedown in the clinch, but these boxers, you're meant to be boxing. These are the same guys who would say that MMA is just two guys hugging. You literally are hugging like fucking a reunited son and father who have been estranged for 20 years after his dad had an affair with his mum, and he fucking left the family after a fucking long day drinking at the bar. and going and collecting smokes and then never coming home. I know that sounded very specific. It's not my case. My dad's home right now, but that's just how it seems like in boxing. Like these guys must have some fucking family issues or something, some resolved issues that their mum and dad must not have hugged them when they were young or something. Because these guys really like to hug in these boxing fights. Like I don't understand it. They really need to like take points more often in boxing as well. Like they ruin the fucking fight so much, man. Like it ruins any entertainment value. Like that's what I also annoys me. Early in the rounds, it's just clinching after clinching. How are you making reads if you're just clinching? There is no reads you could absolutely be making at all if you're just clinching up with someone over and over again. It's one of the worst things about boxing. Generally, so fucking annoying, man. So annoying. Uh, like tell me that's not annoying. If you made it this far into the video, tell me that clinching over and over again is not annoying. Like, there's nobody out there who goes, oh my God, they're clinching. Oh, they're clinching again. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is what a fight. What a fight. What a fight, you guys. Oh my goodness gracious. Jeez Louise, what a war. Like, what a war. Like, nobody fucking cares. It's not good. It's not entertaining. It's boring. Go fucking join MMA or Muay Thai if you like to clinch. At least in Muay Thai, you can fucking knee people and elbow people in the clinch. In boxing, you literally can't do fuck all in the clinch except for recover. But anyway, that's all I've got to say. If you made it this far into the video, uh, I reckon you give this video a like. You know, if you listen to me ramble on this long, then you gotta give me a like. Come on, it's only polite. You don't go far into this guy's video and not like it. It's like coming over to somebody's house for half an hour and not saying thanks for having me, you know. So yeah, if you made it this far, you got to give the video a like. It's just common courtesy. But if not, I understand. You're a prick. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching though. In real talk, if you did enjoy this video, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there's anything I missed, if there's anything anything else MMA does better than boxing. Let me know if there's anything you think boxing does better than MMA besides entrances. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.